Fort Jesus Warriors Club. Topic: fuel crazy. Frenzy, not crazy. Fuel frenzy. That's what's happening at the moment. Everybody is angered. You feel like you can strike the people who are selling the oil to you. You feel like you can go and punch those who are giving you, who are selling crude oil. And we are all in a frenzy, a war frenzy, an anger frenzy, a financial frenzy. Yes, that having been said, I'd like to take you back to history. What happened when I was there? I was born in a small town in Kenya called Nakuru. By then, just like Kigali is the cleanest town in East and Central Africa, by then it was the cleanest town in East Africa. Things change. I was taken to my maternal grandmother's home. I did not have the opportunity to meet my I went to paternal grandmothers, and I would also move to maternal grandmothers. I would interchange. But I never got the opportunity of meeting my paternal grandfather, though I was named after him. And my mother always says, he blessed me. So, during that time, I'll give you the scenario at our paternal grandmother's house. There was the main house, there was the kitchen, there were other huts. And in this main house, which was our grandfathers, our late grandfathers, by then even the grandmother is late, this was the arrangement. There was a pressure lamp, which was a very unique thing. That one was used, and it was like electricity. It would give a lot of heat, it would warm the room, but it produced a lot of light, almost like the electrical bulbs we use now. It would flood the sitting room with light. You had to pump it. And then the kerosene, because we were using kerosene to light that, it would come out from the tank in vapor form. And then there were lanterns, 2 lanterns, and those ones had a cloth wick. Those ones were put in the bedrooms. And in the kitchen, there was a small lamp made from tin by the local tinsmith, and had a cloth wick. It was also filled with kerosene, and it would light, giving a lot of smoke, dark smoke, black smoke. The light was not that much, but it was the one that took care of the cooking area, because the kitchen was detached from the main house. And what were they using for cooking? That time the place was still forested, and from the thickets, in the morning the ants would go and collect dry sticks and wood. That was firewood. Sometimes some trees would be cut down, and there was a rack above the fireplace where the cut down wood would be put, and as one lit the fire, it dried the wood on the rack so that it would be firewood soon, and it would get dry and good for cooking faster. That was the scenario. That was the fuel scenario. That was the lighting scenario. Then there were buses. Buses used petrol the way they're using petrol, and motorbikes. It was a rural setting. So there was a bus that would pass in the morning and going to Nairobi, and then come back. There was one from there that would be coming back in the morning, arrive here. They used to crisscross each other. There were other smaller vehicles, pickups that had been fashioned so that people would sit in the back with seats. That was what was happening during that time. In Nakuru, where we were, there was electricity, and that is where you had just the lamps and a switch and a socket. And sometimes that socket would be used for radio only, and the radio was not playing continuously. It had sometimes to be put off. That was the life that time. I got a privilege because there was an uncle who was highly placed in government and was living in houses that had electricity. He had a cooker there for the family and a fridge, and that is when I came in touch with an electric cooker and a fridge. Those were the sources of power, the fuels at that time. Why am I giving you that long story? I want you to know the scenario in the past, because I was there, many were not. Having said that, I tell you of our survival skill. When we were in secondary school, I was in a boarding secondary school. I started with a day school, and then after a year moved to a boarding secondary school. In that school, they would cook, and then after cooking, there was a place where a tank that would warm the fire. So after cooking, you would go to that tank and draw some water for making a cup of tea or warm water in the evening, or water for bathing. And because we were many, the water will get depleted. So what did the rest of us do? We became innovative. By then, cooking fat and margarine was put in tin cans. So what were we doing? We would crush the tin cans, get two, crush one, crush another, put a wooden stick in between, and then to separate them. Then make holes on the two of them with an electric cable, insulated. Fix the wire on both cans, two different, and then go to the socket, because we had a socket in the dormitory towards the bathrooms, and we would put that there. If you wanted warm water for making tea without interfering with those who are going to the kitchen, you would put it in the socket and switch it on, and that can would hit the water, very hot. But nobody was supposed to touch the water, because if you did, you got an electric shock. So water for bathing, we would use a plastic bucket, and you do the same, and you had water hot enough to cool, and then bathe with warm water. So we enjoyed bathing with warm water. It was illegal. If you were caught doing that, you would be suspended. But as things go by, we managed to move by without getting into that situation. Why am I giving you this story? I'm saying necessity is the mother of invention. In most of the African countries, there is poverty. We are very innovative. We can repair vehicles. We can repair fridges. Name it, even the latest model of a car coming from Europe, our mechanics will do. The electronic units of the vehicles, they do even the setting very well. So it does not mean that we don't have skills. But there seems to be a big problem. A problem that only us and God can help get rid of. Poverty because of sabotage of big companies or people with money, so that you cannot be able to produce that. And then the rest of the people remain down there, these things are solved. In Europe, in America, they started producing electric vehicles. By then it was electric, petrol, and then now electric. But then also, as the vehicles are being sold and everything, it has not gone much because the companies that sell the oil are theirs. So they want to make that profit as long as it can last. In Africa, the vehicles that were using oil are the ones that are refurbished in most cases and sold at a slightly affordable price. So many people go for the oil vehicles. Recently, electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles, that is electric oil, have started coming to the African market, but in small quantities. Reason, liquid fuel has to be consumed. So don't kill the trade by introducing a technology. Very slow introduction. But what is the problem? The problem is we have the knowledge. I always wonder, when the vehicles like the Volkswagen Beetle in Kenya were not functioning because the spare parts, the company in Germany had closed and the spare parts were difficult to get. People were innovative. They used Subaru engines. They put their own cooling system, and the Volkswagen Beetle ran for a very long time. I think a few may still be there, running, performing very well, sometimes performing better than the present vehicles because they are getting tires that were used for other vehicles, engines that were used for other vehicles, and with the innovation we have, the Beetles are still there. But what has been happening? The oil industry, the oil budgets are the ones that overwhelm the African governments. But we still stick there because of trade interests of those people and trade interest of our people well placed, because that makes money. What I talked about the other time, I said technology has improved. When you've been sold a vehicle, there is a guarantee, even an item. After that guarantee, they will not service it for you. They will not do anything for you. It is your vehicle. But there are those that are coming new, that are using the batteries and everything to run. That technology can be incorporated into these old vehicles that we have, which are still usable. You don't have to buy a new vehicle. The technology to fix this thing, be able to get rid of the petrol engine, replace the unit with a battery and a motor, is there. What makes it difficult for us to be able to do that? Because if one tries and is able to provide that power, just like it was using petrol, it will still move on the road. Electric motorbikes are working. I'm seeing them, the new ones here. That technology, because it's the people here servicing them, can be extended in that the engine part and the other part on the present motorbikes can be able to be exchanged, and then you improve the motorbike in that you don't have to buy a new motorbike if your motorbike is still functional. You just put those units and you move with your motorbike. But I know many people will say to not meet the standard. Many people will say it will be dangerous for these people. Many people will give many excuses. Not because that is what will happen. Since we've been making those vehicles, the Volkswagen Beetles, and they've been moving without a hitch. Why doesn't one think of money? Because what I've been saying is, one can be able to follow my story from the past. So financially, I'm squeezed. I can't be able to do anything. There was this thing I talked about, electricity, a generator that would run sustaining itself. Jesus combination electric pack. People with money can do that. Innovate that, put it in the vehicle. You will not need fuel. That battery that starts the generator as you are running now, the battery that runs the motor that will start your generator can still charge and be used for all the electrical appliances in the vehicle as you move. When it is charged, you have something that disconnects. So it means the distance you are traveling will not matter. You can drive from Kenya to South Africa. It's only wear and tear that would affect your vehicle. Anybody who has tried to initiate that, it can be done. What about the things that are being used in the vehicles now? Because it is the mechanism for moving the wheels that is just different. That's where the engine drives this, and the electric battery turns motors that move the vehicle. We can integrate and get over this fuel budget crisis in Africa. I talked about it in the past videos. There were times when we were saying people were calling us names. They were saying we are stupid, we don't have innovations. We're not, because we are able to repair the very things. But here is the problem. Just like Jesus went to Mary and Martha's place, and when they saw him, they went to him crying, "Oh, Jesus, if you are here, our brother would not have passed." And Jesus looked at them. And that's where we have the shortest verse in the Bible. And Jesus wept. Why did Jesus weep? Because he'd been telling them of eternal life. This guy will have eternal life. And you are now crying. Crying because you don't understand yourself. And Jesus went and told Lazarus, "Get out of the tomb so that people may know." Asked God to do it so that people may know and follow his word. And that's what happened. Here we have a crisis. This is a time for innovation. These vehicles that we have on the road, we are talking of industries. We have the mechanics who can be able to do this innovation. We know the systems of the electrical vehicle, how they work, and the petrol engine vehicle, how they work. It's a small change so that you can be able to have the motor work where this rod for the power shaft for the petrol engine has been taking over. Can't we be able to do that? From different countries, get the battery, get the motors necessary, overhaul the engine, and have electric vehicles operating on our roads. Call an end to the fuel crisis, to the big budget and be able to operate. Is it sickness? Is it the fact that we don't understand? We have what it takes. The vehicles are yours. You have the technology. We've had the example of the Volkswagen Beetle and the Renault that stayed on the African market for a very long time. Even when the mother factories were not producing spare parts anymore, they were running. We have that. Why don't we do that to our motorbikes, to our vehicles? Introduce this thing that I'm talking of. Jesus combination electric power pack. It's not a generator that can fit within the vehicle, a motor that can be able to rotate it, and then a cutout so that when it's rotating, the moment the generator starts producing electricity, it can pick up, cut out the power from the battery, and the motor, the generator will supply electricity to run the motor, which will run the generator, and you can go to any place you want. You can have charging method that can charge that battery that you start with for a while. When it's full, it cuts off. When that motor is running, you can drive to any part of the world. It will not stop because it will be running itself. The generator will be running that motor that will be running itself. No buying of fuel. Put that in vehicles. I said it's not patented. It's a pack. You can do it. The old vehicles are not patented. People with money can be able to get these accessories. Change the whole fuel issue and have almost totally zero budget on fuel. That's the way to go. But I know, because of our investments and because of the greed, because it's dangerous. Who is going to innovate it? The one who is telling us, why doesn't he do it? I'm saying I'm financially strapped. And whatever is happening, if you follow my past videos, you can be able to understand. Otherwise, I would have looked for experts in that field and started the whole thing. I said it is open to everybody, it's not patented. Do it any place in Africa, any place in the world. But Africa, with such an idea coming from here, and we are not able to do that, we still have to keep crying that runaway prices for fuel. Surely. What impression do we give anywhere in the world? Are we that less intelligent? That is the question I'm asking. That is the question I'm asking. We have the knowledge. We have the appliances that will be needed. You can buy a normal generator, small, that runs power in the house. Even for the houses, you can use that. The way I said in that one, when I was given that. All we can do now is cry about fuel. Whereas those vehicles would run almost at no cost with a small overhauling. Our mechanics are there. Our electricians are there. We've taken our children to school for that. They are experts in that field. Even within our military divisions, can somebody develop this thing? What's happening? No wonder Jesus wept. That's my take for now.